I have heard they were planning on going down to the border to stand against trafficking. And look, anything that I think that brings awareness to human trafficking and trafficking of children, I think is great. And clearly, these folks in Washington are not getting the message, and people across this country are not getting the message. So, look, I support anything that brings awareness to this, and I would just ask and hope that they would follow all the laws. But this is what America's about. This is their First Amendment right, and I support it 100%.
Sheriff Lamb, in the break before this interview, you and I were talking. I was telling you that I was driving through your county, and I happened to see one of your deputies alongside on the other side of the road. One of the things that you said that was kind of interesting is that you're not necessarily looking for speeders. Obviously, you're enforcing the law, but you're actually looking for something specific there. That those deputies aren't necessarily tracking people down who are going 89, 90 miles an hour because you've got bigger fish to fry.
Now, obviously, if you're going too fast, they're going to
I
pull you
get
over.
that.
But they're looking for folks that are trafficking humans and drugs into this county. Just to give you an idea, one of my interdiction guys that you probably saw along the freeway, in one shift the other day, he had 7 traffic stops. All 7 of those stops were human load vehicles. That is completely unacceptable. And most of them average probably 3 stops per shift per deputy along that freeway that are load vehicles loaded with humans or drugs.
How can you tell those vehicles, Sheriff Lamb? Like, what makes those different, unique?
They're pretty darn good at what they do. They look for certain cues. A lot of times tinted windows, temp tags, temporary plates. But it's making it harder because the cartel are paying kids. They're paying kids up in Phoenix. They're advertising on Snapchat and TikTok. They're paying $800 a body, and these kids are coming down from Phoenix, and they're not used to working with the cartels, so they're not the type of vehicles we're typically used to looking for. And so
Right.
it's making our job a little bit harder.
And Sheriff Lamb, I was actually looking through some of the reports there in your area, and I believe it was either last week or the beginning of this week, maybe even over the weekend. You have such a drug issue, trafficking drugs over the border there, that there was actually a family who had gotten hold of some of this fentanyl that is very, very potent and strong and deadly, and their child was found dead in the house. Are these more and more becoming more and more common in the area that you guys are working right now?
Jessica, that's a great question, but they're becoming more and more common all over this country. This product is not designed to stay here in Arizona or Texas. It's designed to go throughout America. And we're just feeling the initial effects of it. And look, these are not overdoses. When you say an overdose, you're talking about people immediately conjure up an idea of a 20-year addict who just took too much drugs. These are poisonings. This is a 15-year-old taking a pill for the first time being poisoned. This is somebody who's a cocaine addict who uses cocaine once that has fentanyl in it. It is unacceptable. And I wanted to just hit some quick numbers. Last month, there was 163,000 apprehensions at the border, 53,000 people that were gotaways. Out of all those, you know how much they turned back? They turned back 11,000 out of 210,000 people. They turned back 11,000 people. That means, so Americans think because we apprehended them, we're sending them back. They're not, folks. Your government's sending them here, and that's why we as sheriffs, we're standing against it. We did a vote of no confidence on the Western States Sheriff's Association for Mayorkas and Kamala Harris, and protectamericanow.com. We're standing against these bad policies. We hope you'll support us.
And Sheriff, really quickly, I think a lot of people ask, fentanyl's been around. Many of these drugs that are coming over have been around for many, many years throughout the world, throughout the country. What is making them so lethal right now? Do you guys know what they are putting in these drugs?
Well, here's the big thing is what they're doing is they're putting them in pill form. And those pills, we as Americans, we take pills. That's just something we've always done. And the cartel knows that. And so they're producing a drug, and they're delivering it in a way that it makes people want to take it. And it's a lot easier to take it. So these kids are now taking these pills. Adults are taking these pills, these little blue M30 fentanyl pills. And the reason why you don't know if it's a lethal dose, but the DEA here in Arizona says 40% of all the doses that we find are lethal doses. That means if you take it one time, it's going to kill you. And so it's basically you're picking up a gun. It's got 2 bullets in it. Whenever you use it, and if you pull the trigger, you might get lucky it wasn't a lethal dose, but chances are 50-50 you're not.
roulette, really. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Terrence.
Sheriff Lamb, I kind of want to switch gears a little bit to talk policy specifically. Do you expect maybe even just a little bit of a reprieve since we're now in the midterm election season that lawmakers on Capitol Hill will actually take some substantive action to help you? That it'll be more than just talk, that they'll actually do something, even if just for the short term in order to get a vote?
No, I don't. They'll say they're going to do something, but they won't actually do it. And they're going to use Russia and Ukraine as a smokescreen and as cover fire for their bad policies. They're blaming everything on it. They're blaming the high gas prices on it. They're going to blame the border issues on it. They're going to do everything they can to use that as a smokescreen. I do not believe that they'll change. The numbers don't indicate that. I just think they're going to continue to give the people, the American people, lip service and tell you what you think they want to hear or what they think you want to hear. That's what they're going to tell you. And they're going to do that throughout the midterms, but they won't make any changes. I wish they would, but
Absolutely. And Sheriff Lamb, on that point, and one last question. I also understand you were just visited by Republican Congressman Andy Biggs, Matt Gaetz, and Doug LaMalfa recently. Tell us about that, and what did you guys talk about?
well, that was last night. We showed them those areas. And let me tell you, I took them to an area that it is crazy how much traffic we're seeing through there. All fresh backpacks, camouflage clothes, carpet shoes, toilet paper. It's great to have Andy Biggs in here. He's a great congressman of ours. And Matt Gaetz, I've become good friends with him. He's come out here several times. These are men, and now they brought Congressman LaMalfa. These are men that understand the issue, and they want their constituents to know it. They want the American people to know it. And on a side note, I have yet to have a Democrat senator or congressman come and take me up on my offer to see this tour. And I would hope that one will, but I don't have high hopes because they just don't want to understand the problem and face it head on.